All right, this is Knox Street Studios Tech Bridge, where we together increase our technical know-how and productivity. Today, what we're going to do, the focus is going to be the standard library. And I'll go ahead and give you what the action item is for today as well. The action item for you today is to go to the standard library, and I'll even run it across the screen, okay? And take a look at some of the things that we're covering in this particular episode of Tech Bridge. So the Python, we've been taking a look at it and we've been kind of kicking around at it. Well, what we've really been kicking around is what we've been kicking around in is the standard library. And what I thought we would do today is just run through and kind of take a bigger look at it, or just a quick look at all the things there. Now, what Python is, when we think of Python, we think of it as a language, but what it really is a tool for us to do the things that we are interested in doing. And what I mean by that is everybody's not interested in doing the same thing. And so what that means is, and why Python is so helpful, is that it's a fairly easy tool to learn, but you can do a lot of things with it. And there are quite a few things you can do in the standard library, sort of like your base kit, right? Now, conversely, I'm going to pop over to another website and just show you that it's there, and it's called PyPy, Python Packaging Index. And so here you can get extensions to your tool, this one, Python, right? And there are a whole list of extensions that are at this particular repository. All right, so I just wanted to mention that it's there, that we can use it to extend our flexibility, or to let us know what we do, help us with the types of things that we want to get done. All right, so a quick rundown of the Python standard library. It's going to be very brief. There are built-in functions. There are types. We should cover Boolean, true, false type of types in the future. We've already mentioned numeric types, specifically the integers, but there are also floats and complex numbers. There are sequence types that we will be covering very soon: lists, tuples, range. There are a mapping type dictionary that's pretty cool. Another thing that you'll see there are text processing services for strings, i.e. sort of like the slicing that we did. There's a whole regular expression operations. Some people just love regex. That's your thing, okay. There are data types, and one of the things that I did create was a stock puller, and so there are APIs. So there's these databases out there that you can pull information, you can connect to and pull information to. And one of them, I think it's IEX is the one I use. You can go online, you can pull from that API, and you can pull the stock price at that particular moment, right? And so in order to do that, you have to have the date time. And so that was one of the first modules that I had to pull down and put into this program that I created, was the date time. Calendars, simple question, it seems like, say, hey, how old are you? Well, computers, this gets kind of complicated because we got to make sure everybody's using the same calendar. Which calendar are you using? How does that look? There's under the hood, there's a trash collector. They don't mention it here, but that trash collector helps to keep your computer and the program functioning well. There's file access, file and directory access, sort of like similar to what Windows does with the folders and such. Where is stuff? How do you get it? What's the path? That's what that does. There's data persistence. There's data compression. There's file format, text files, CVS CSV files, et cetera, et cetera. There are general operating system services. You use that, and you see that oftentimes in many of your programs. You have to import your OS, et cetera, et cetera. Little concurrent execution. So a lot of times when things are happening, so when you have more than, think of it as if you have more than one window open or one tab open when you have things running concurrently. And I end up doing that quite a bit. Some people do, some people don't. There are tools to handle HTML, email, XML, if you are familiar with that, web browser protocols. And then there are, in the standard library, there's also ways in which you can handle WAV files, audio files, basically, right? And then there is Tkinter as well as Turtle that gets into kind of graphics or actual creating your own web interface. And then there are developer tools, unit testing, and things of that nature. There, of course, debugging, because you got to do fault handler and things of that nature. There's software packaging distribution. So let's say you actually make this really cool tool, a really cool app. Well, in the standard library, you can actually put it together and package it and then send it over to the PyPI that we just mentioned at the beginning. There are import modules, and there are others that I won't mention. But the big idea here is that all of these components are built into the standard tool that allow for you and I to get things done. There's a lot there. There's stuff that I'm still learning, and I am excited to walk with you to learn more. So if you got questions, send me a comment, send me a text. I'll be sure to respond. In the meantime, make sure that the action item for today is you go to the website, kind of scroll through it, just kind of read through it. You can actually just go back and read through some of the things that we've already covered, i.e. numbers, strings, things of that nature. And the thing about programming, at least for me, is that the more you read, the more you do, the more you reflect, the better you understand those concepts. So when you start to move on to new things, you'll have a better sense of where you are in the process. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.